Ristyawan Pratama. My last three digits of student number is 109, and this is my partner.
Hello, I'm Nadya Rahma Yanatta with the last three digits number is 116. On the occasion of today's discussion, we will discuss the issue of why is it important to legalize the government regulation on sexual harassment. Okay, first of all, what do you think about the recent sexual harassment?
It's pretty massive, isn't it? We've seen a lot of news articles that reveal the misdeeds, and the most sad thing is it happens more frequently in the universities. Not going too far, in our faculty, we even have these kinds of cases. For example, Gilang and Abrizani are the latest culprits. What do you think?
You're right. Even the sexual harassment also occurs within our own faculty. Actually, cases like this have often happened, but only a few victims dare to speak the truth about what they experienced. In fact, there is one case that really made me think. The Ministry of Women's Empowerment and Child Protection, or KPPA, recorded as many as 8,800 cases of sexual harassment occurred from January to November 2021, and the victims verified from students, employees in state institutions, wives of prisoners until disabled. In my opinion, this is very unfortunate because places where we seek knowledge, seek fortune, places that we think are safe, such as at home, can also be places where sexual harassment occurs.
Wow, 8,800 cases. I know from the news that it is increasing, but I'm not aware of that number. That seems to be a surprising result to know based on the fact they recorded those during the pandemic. I thought the pandemic would be no way to create such high number of cases because people are staying at home. Well, of course, I would consider that online sexual violence increases by that. So I would assume that the cause of the 8,800 cases may be due to how people become more aware about it. Or are there any other reasons, do you think?
This is about public awareness that some action can be called sexual violence, can also trigger the number of reported sexual violence to be increasing, coupled with the fact that there are many easily accessible institutions and movements for overcoming sexual violence. Education on what things should be done carried out by the victim after the violence and felt able to accompany the victims. For other factors, in my opinion, in early sex education, the line between choking and sexual violence is too thin. So many of the perpetrators, usually from people who the victims knows, commit sexual violence under the pretext of joking. Do you think an incident like this can be overcome?
Well, such incidents maybe can be handled by each individual, I think, but it depends on how the people respond to such an issue. So, to influence people more effectively, solutions need to be made by something that has massive power, something like government. I'm going to ask you then, do you think the government already does good for this issue?
I have heard about the issue of regulations that are able to protect victims of violence, but so far there has been no development on these regulations, and victims have not been able to get full legal protection from the government. Is not the government too slow to take care of things like this?
And when yes, as you said, several regulations have been made or are still being made. We can see that the education minister Nadya has made an act to counter the sexual violence in educational areas such as universities. The House is also drafting a bill called RUDBKS. This will give the victims opportunities to find help. So we can see that the government is really responsive to such issue. However, there are many obstacles from the public, ironically, for the government when passing the law, especially from the religious groups. They think the law could pass an immoral culture to society.
What do you mean by the law to pass an immoral culture to society? Will the articles that will be proposed be vulnerable to rubber articles like the ETA law?
No, I mean they are just panicking. They think the law's intention is to condemn, for example, premarital sex. Well, that could be a feedback to consider for the next improvement, though. But as you said, it could make the process become slower. What do you suggest for the government about the issue?
You're right. I have also heard about mass organizations that say that some draft laws, such as legalizing premarital sex and some other taboo issues. Maybe I can give a suggestion to tighten the time in the passing of the draft law that is being planned before the victims of violence increase because of past news. There are several proposed laws that are changed. They think are too heavy to be discussed and then passed. For me, that reason sounds strange and unreasonable if it is put forward by a people's representative institution like them.
Yeah, I would say that the government also needs to hear some feedback from the other sides as well, like people whose field is related to the issue. Pretty sure they have to pass law as soon as possible, but at the same time, they need to consider more about the law's substances.
Okay, I can conclude that legalizing regulation regarding sexual violence for me is very important to provide strong legal protection for victims and be able to provide appropriate sanctions for perpetrators. How about you? Anything you want to add?
Yes, I could add about the fact that because the public, I mean, can interfere with the government's decision to make a law, then the public can also fasten the process of passing the law. So to make a safe place away from sexual violence, we have to push the government.